Hey, everybody, what's up? Michael Beller here, Best on the Board, presented by BetMGM, coming at you on Monday, February 7th. It is the start of Super Bowl week. We've been looking at this matchup for 7 days now, and now just 6 more to go before we get Super Bowl 56. Bengals and Rams, and we are celebrating in grand fashion to kick off Super Bowl week here on Best on the Board. If you're with us on YouTube, thank you very much. You see all the faces in front of you. If you are not with us on YouTube, let me introduce everyone. We are doing a Super Bowl prop bet draft here, combining gambling, fantasy. We're going to talk through all these props, have some fun with it. I've got 3 of my pals here to do it with me. First up, Dan Santa Ramita. Dan, what's going on, man?
I'm excited to plunge into the NFL waters after being only a college guy in here, and I'm excited to also make an ass of myself. So let's go.
Hey, I mean, that's really all we're trying to do, right? I mean, that's how you have fun with it. If you make an ass of yourself, so be it. That's just how it goes here sometimes. Nando DeFino, not unaccustomed to that necessarily. What's up, Nando?
I'm glad to be here, man. This is gonna be fun. I got some weird stuff.
Yeah. I would expect nothing else. I'm expecting a lot of novelty props from you in this as we go through it. I was trying to get as many as I could, at least in the queue, so we could talk about them all, because we don't just need to be hitting on, Odell Beckham over, although kind of like that. But we're going to get through all of those, or as many of them as we possibly can. Andrew DeWitt, also here rounding out our draft crew. What's up, DeWitt?
Oh, nothing. I'm ready to hit this first touchdown. It's mine. I'm taking that first, whatever my pick is, so don't steal it yet.
Oh my God. God, what would the Saints Colts Super Bowl, was that like 2009, right? 2009, 2010, something like, right? I hit that first touchdown bet. Pierre Garçon, first touchdown, had it, bet it, won it. I have bet the first touchdown of every Super Bowl since and have yet to recreate that magic.
You should quit while you're ahead, man.
Right? Should have just lived on those Pierre Garçon laurels for the last decade.
Pierre Garçon first touchdown is so random. I would have just been like, yeah, that's not getting better than this, man.
Yeah, and so whatever I won on that, I've definitely given it all back and then some in my subsequent first touchdown bets in the Super Bowl. But we're going to get in that. We're going to get into the novelties, like we said. We're going to just hit some of the regular player props as we're going through this, a Super Bowl 56 prop bet draft. So here's how things are going to work. We are going to go through 4 rounds. We'll each make 4 of our favorite prop picks. One person, one pick. That's it. If I take Cooper Kupp's over, no one else can take Cooper Kupp under yards. No one else can take Cooper Kupp over yards. That's just it. One prop for each of us. We get 4 picks, and we've got 6 units to spend on those 4 picks. We can give you a little bit of an idea of, I like this one a little bit better than that one, or I like this one way more than that one. You can spread them out however you want. 6 units, 4 picks, 4 rounds as we go through this Super Bowl prop bet draft. To set the order, I'm going to add this to our video stream. If you're watching us on YouTube, and the guys, you can see we've got a random list generator. Our names are in this list in alphabetical order. I got that right. Me, Danny, DeWitt, and Nando. Guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to spin this 3 times, all right? 3 times. The third one is going to be the order that we go with, all right? So we're all good? All clear on that?
Go ahead. Good luck.
Yes. I'll take your silence as understanding that we're clear. There's the first spin. Here comes spin number 2. And here's number 3. Our draft order is Danny first, I am second, Nando third, DeWitt, you are fourth. So you really got to live up live a little bit dangerously here, DeWitt. Hopefully no one takes that first touchdown prop that you want to take.
Someone's going to grab it probably. That's fine.
All right, Danny, me, Nando, DeWitt, any prop you want. That's how we're doing it here on this episode of Best on the Board. Santa Ramita, get us going here. What's the first pick in our Super Bowl 56 prop bet draft?
Joe Mixon over receiving yards, 25.5. So right. I feel like no one else is going to take this first. So my first pick is wasted, but I think this is actually a great bet because he has been used in their passing game a lot more lately in the last 7 or so games. In the beginning of the year, he was not in it at all. He would have a couple 0, 1, 2 reception games. He has been kind of a fixture in their passing game of late. Plus, you factor in that the Rams are going to have, or expecting them to have, a lot of pass pressure, and those little outlet dump-off passes are going to be something to look for Joe Burrow. I think this is my favorite bet in the game. I'm taking it first, so better be right. But no, I think this is great. It's not a super high number. He's gone over this number in 5 straight games, including 3 in the playoffs. Now, granted, a couple times it's been pretty close, so I don't think it's an absolute lock. But he's gone over it 5 straight games, so that's why.
Something I find interesting here is that Samaj Pearin has a rushing plus receiving yard prop listed. He doesn't yet have a just receiving yard prop, and we saw him get that big touchdown in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, but hasn't really had much of a role in the passing game or, frankly, a role in the offense since really the end of the regular season. Anyone want to argue against Dan's Mixon play here? If under were possible for you to take, would anyone be taking it?
No, I don't think I would get anywhere near that.
Yeah. I don't think I would either. I really don't. I think that this is an over or a nothing. An over or a nothing for sure. We're going to lock that in for Danny. Excuse me, you guys. Going Joe Mixon over receiving yards. That brings us to me, my first round pick. This is my favorite play, obviously. I guess we should all be taking our favorite one first. Cooper Kupp over 104.5 receiving yards. Cooper Kupp lives over this number. This is what Cooper Kupp does week in, week out. If I can make it a theme of my draft here, it's going to be a lot of Cooper Kupp for me, you guys, because this is the heart of the Rams offense. This is what they have leaned on all season. This is what they've done very well all season. They have gotten Odell Beckham in the mix over their playoff run here to the Super Bowl. But Cooper Kupp just goes over 104.5. It feels like every game. It feels like this is as much a layup as it could possibly be. Books can't really set the number much higher than 104.5. I mean, that's an impressive number for a receiver to hit. But I would take this up to 111, 112, 113. I think this would have to be at like 120.5 before I thought about not taking Cooper Kupp to go over.
I would take under 120 easily.
That's what I'm saying. It would have to be that high. If this was 113.5, I'm still taking the over. I'm still betting it. It would have to get into like the 117 range before I thought about staying away from it. And then the 120 for me to want to go under. This is just what Cooper Kupp does, you guys. So 104.5 over for me.
Is there any like alternate lines being offered on Cooper Kupp's receiving yards that you could like get some more value out of the bet if you really think he's just going to blow up and they're not going to be able to cover him at all?
You know what? There's got to be. I actually didn't look into that. I can scroll around and see what I can find, and we can come back on that. But why don't we move on to our next pick? We've got Mixon first, Cooper Kupp over 104.5 second. Nando, your first pick, my friend. What are you looking at here?
I'm with you in the receiving core, but I'm a big Odell Beckham. I think they're going to find a way to maybe clamp down on Kupp a little bit. So I didn't go receiving yards yet. I like Odell Beckham over 5.5 receptions at plus 110.
Nice.
If you go down his game log, he's been 7, 10, 8, 7, 5, the last couple games of the playoffs, 8 and 11. I just think that Matthew Stafford's gotten very comfortable with him, likes throwing to him. He's still Odell Beckham Jr. It's a small one to start with. I think I'm going to put 2 of my units on it, but I've got some wild ones later. This is my grounded one that I think is actually really going to happen.
This is crossing one of mine off the list. I did not have any Mixon props on this list, but I'm going to have to cross off one of my OBJ props because I love this one too. And we've seen a reborn Odell Beckham since really, in the playoffs. I guess it sort of happened toward the end of the regular season that he got more in a flow with what the Rams were doing offensively versus what the Browns were doing offensively. But now we've really seen it over these last couple of games in the playoffs. Odell Beckham really looking like, pre-Browns Odell Beckham. Maybe not quite back to that Giants level, but certainly closer to it than we ever saw for him in Cleveland. And I'm with you, Nando. Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, overs across the board for those two guys. I think are going to be plays that we like making. Thank you for saying the units because Danny and I totally blew that. I'm putting 2 of my units. Putting 2 of my units on the Cooper Kupp over. Danny, back to your Mixon pick. What are you doing? 1 or 2? Or I guess you can go 3.
Yeah, we'll go with the 2. First round pick, it makes sense to go with the 2, right? It's got to be the bet you like the best.
I think so, absolutely. DeWitt, you've got 2 picks here. Let's hear what the first touchdown one is, and let's hear the other one as well.
Going back to the Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham discussion, I'll go Odell Beckham 10-1 for the first touchdown. Yes. I'll just do 1 unit on that. It's a long shot.
Yeah,
I love these first touchdown props. They're fun to play. They give you something interesting in the beginning of the game. I think the Bengals will try and bracket Kupp, or they'll try and figure out some way to stop him. But if he's in the red zone, obviously Stafford's going to look to him, but Stafford's been looking to Beckham a lot in the red zone, especially the last 2 or 3 weeks as they're getting on the same page. Came over in mid-season. It takes time to get aligned with your wide receivers as a quarterback in the NFL. So I just really love Odell Beckham 10-1 first touchdown for 1 unit.
That's another one I'm crossing off my list. I can't make it. I can't have it as part of our draft. I am absolutely going to be riding with you on this one, DeWitt, though, for real, come Sunday. I love this one. We can get around it. Is anyone else thinking about making a first touchdown play as we go?
I have a couple
draft?
on my list. I have a couple first and a last.
No.
Okay, nice. Ooh, a last touchdown.
I got a weird theory about this game.
All right, I can't wait to hear. I can't wait to hear that, because that's gonna be great. I want to hear the full fledged theory, not just the last touchdown play. But this is gonna be something to look forward to for sure. All right, DeWitt. So you've got Beckham 10-1, 1 unit on that for him to score the first touchdown. We're sticking with you here. Start the second round for us. What do you got?
I'm going to go with most rushing yards, Joe Mixon at -110. So there's a prop with Cam Akers versus Joe Mixon, and Mixon is at -130. But there's no other player that's really going to probably pile up the rushing yards in this game unless Jamar Chase rips off a really long run or something like that. Like, I just don't see – like, Jamar Chase is the only other player that I could see
no
getting
love
a
for
really
Cam
long
Akers
touchdown.
whatsoever?
No love for Cam Akers. He's averaging like 3 yards per carry since he came back from the injury. And like, if you look at his like, he's getting a bunch of attempts. He's had the fumbles. Like the Rams, like if they're smart, and they may not be smart because they keep running the ball, but they keep giving the ball to Akers, even though Sony Michel like completely carried the team from like what, weeks 14, 15, 16, even week 12. Like he was kind of a stud there at the end of the season. So I'm just going to get like a little bit better value, and I'll just do the 110 and include everybody in the game. Like there were like 6 options on BetMGM. Jamar Chase is one of them at like 50-1 or something like that. But I like Joe Mixon, and I would take Joe Mixon head-to-head against Akers as well, just straight up. So,
yeah, I mean, the Bengals have shown us over the last, I want to say 6 weeks. I mean, I keep going back to that game against the Ravens as sort of the benchmark for when the Bengals became the AFC champion Bengals. And they've shown us in all those games, they played some really tough competition. They've been down in some games, so they've had to come back, and they never get away from Mixon. No matter what, they never get away from Mixon. It seemed to be hurting them in that AFC championship game at one point, but for better, for worse, whatever the case may be, they stick with Joe Mixon. They let him get his touches. And yeah, I don't know if we can necessarily say that about any Rams running back. So I like that one, DeWitt, and very savvy play also with getting in on basically making that same Mixon versus Akers bet, but increasing your odds by throwing every single player into the pool here. We've got Joe Mixon on the board for the second time, most rushing yards. Nando, second round pick. What do you got for us?
All right, so here's where my theory comes into play, and it's based a little bit off what DeWitt was saying. So I think what's happening here with Akers playing so much is that McVay is kind of just giving other teams no film to work with on what they want to do. He was waxing poetic about how he was on the other sideline when Sony Michel killed them with that power run game in the Super Bowl when they played New England. So I think we're going to see a lot of Sony Michel, a lot more. I mean, he had 57% of the snaps last week. I think 10% the week before. So what I don't know what I want to do here. So I got a Sony Michel to score first / LA Rams to win at plus 2,000. And I also got a Sony Michel to score last touchdown at plus 1,600. So either my theory is they come out swinging with Sony Michel. This is where I'm split. So I think I'm going to use both of these in my next 2 rounds, unless someone wants to steal Sony Michel touchdown.
I'm not going to steal Sony Michel last touchdown, I promise.
I think I'm going to go Sony Michel to score first / Rams to win at 20-1 odds, because they're going to come out. Sony Michel is going to run, and it's just going to be like a crazy what just happened there start to the game. I think the Rams are going to win either way. And then maybe I'll come back and do Sony Michel to score last, because I think what they'll do is Cam Akers first half and then come out in the second half, like after that long extended halftime, when they come out, it's like a totally different game, and they just come out and run the crap out of Sony Michel, and he'll score that last touchdown. So there's a preview for you.
So you're obviously not going to do it here because we're only making 4 picks total. But in this scenario, in the real world, you take Sony first TD and Rams to win. Do you feel compelled to also make a straight Sony first TD bet, because it would really suck to hit Sony first TD but lose your bet because the Bengals win the Super Bowl?
No, and this is, for me, the Super Bowl is more like fun. I got like $100 to play around with. I think the Sony to score first was like $950. You know what I mean? It's $100 of house money, by the way. But Sony, I think, was just $950. He might have even been $750 to score first by himself. Just pairing it with that Rams win.
1,200 on BetMGM right now.
All right, I was looking at other sites. Yeah, it's still not as tantalizing to me as just the plus 2,000. Like, I've got all these other random things that I want to mess with at $5 a piece, and do a parlay of stuff. And I don't know. This one it's one of those pre-made double prop things, so it's not technically a parlay. The plus 2,000 stood out to me more than I guess the smaller numbers. Yeah. So no.
I mean, it is technically.
I'm going all the way, man.
It is technically
that first score and then wait till the very end to see what happens.
Yeah, there you go. You're really burning the candle at both ends on this game, unless anyone in the game scores the first touchdown.
True.
Other than Sony.
Good point.
then things are totally different. All right, guys, let me get my second pick in here. So like I said, I've got some other Cooper Kupp things I want to get into, but I've already, said enough good things about Cooper Kupp. So let me go down to clicking around, having some fun with this, trying to find some things that aren't necessarily the obvious ones that we talk about from week to week. And we all know that one of the themes of really this entire season for the Bengals, and certainly of the playoffs, has been them overcoming the deficiencies of their offensive line. This has been an issue for them. I think I was in a big group of people who thought that was going to be, keeping them 1 year away from maybe being in this position. Once they fix that line in front of Burrow, that's going to let the offense fully flourish, and then they'll really take off. I think that could still be true, but hey, here they are in the Super Bowl. It hasn't held them back quite enough, but we know it's going to be something that the Rams want to attack. So I took a lot of look at, Rams player sacks, Rams team sacks, but the thing that actually stood out to me was game sacks, you guys, because Rams sacks over 3.5, not a small amount of sacks to get to 4, is plus 105. Game sacks over 5.5 is plus 110. So now I get in on all of it. We've got two somewhat immobile quarterbacks. Joe Burrow's got a little bit of mobility to him, but not super mobile, has the knee issue still going back to last year. So, yeah, there's not a ton of mobility there. There's basically none for Matthew Stafford. You've got a Rams defense that can really get after the quarterback. You've got some strong individual players on Cincinnati's defensive front, even without Larry Ogunjobi, led by Trey Hendrickson. I think this game could pretty easily get to 6 sacks. So give me game sacks over 5.5 at plus 110. I'm going to throw 1 unit on that one. So I've got 3 units left for my remaining 2 bets. But I like this one, and I like getting involved in the defense, guys. Right, and this is what Super Bowl prop betting is all about. We're not just sitting here betting all the offensive players like we do during the regular season. I think we could see some defensive highlights in this one in a big way.
No one ever talks about Von Miller, man. All you ever hear is Aaron Donald. No one's talking about Von Miller.
Yeah, well, I've got a Leonard Floyd first sack on here at plus 600. First sack is sort of tough. Leonard Floyd anytime sack is plus 130, and he's another guy. That just speaks. You got Von Miller, you got Leonard Floyd, you got Aaron Donald. Get a lot of pressure on this Cincinnati front, and we know that that's how you slow down the Cincinnati offense, is by taking advantage of that weakness. So this is something that I'm certainly taking a big long look at, and I love it. Over 5.5 sacks for the game. Get a little bit of plus money. Plus 110. We go back to you, Danny. You've got 2 picks here on the 2-3 turn. Let's hear what you got for us.
All right, so I would have reversed the order on these, but I feel like we need an under. We've had a lot of overs. I'm going to switch up that trend. I'm stealing one of DeWitt's plays. I'm sure he had this one. He kind of played it already, but I'm going to do under Cam Akers rushing yards. He hasn't hit this number since he's come back from injury. And I think the Rams just aren't really as much of a running offense that they're going to put up that kind of number through Akers. I'm going Akers in the under. I don't know. I feel like it's just as simple. He hasn't done it yet, so show me, and then I'll bet against it until you show me you can hit this.
Remind us what the number is again. Remind us what the total is. Sorry. Okay, so 62.5. He comes under. Yeah. 62.5 under for Cam Akers. Let me just ask you this before you make your second pick. I mean, you've got an Akers under, a Mixon over. You feeling an upset at all in this game?
Well, in fairness, my Mixon over was receiving yards, which is a small number. It's only 25.5. He could have a pretty average 30 yards receiving, and I would not win that one. I do think it does seem like, from looking at the list I have here now, granted, I could have stolen the Cooper Kupp bet from you. I think you might have come through the screen and fought me, because I knew that was the only thing I knew going into this is that Beller wanted that Kupp over. I was like, all right, let him have it.
hey. I mean,
so I could have had another Rams one.
Like I'm like 5.5 weeks deep on paternity leave here. It's basically like, what can I throw out there that I feel very confident in without doing the most research that I would maybe be doing if I were working day in and day out. And Cooper Kupp, it's a layup. It's a layup for sure. Yeah. All right, Danny, second pick. What do you got for us here? Third pick, second on this turn.
All right, so I guess I'm going to go back to your trend of I think I like the Bengals in this game, but I don't know. Jamar Chase over 5.5 receptions. Now, granted, the juice on this is kind of horrendous. It was minus 150 when I first saw it last week. It's now minus 155. That's not so great. But I think it basically push comes to shove, right? If the Bengals his boo, right? And Jamar Chase is his boo. So Jamar Chase, look, his targets in recent games. Now, not counting the Week 18 game when Burrow didn't play and Chase played less than half the game. I think he had 10 targets, 12 targets, 6, 9, and he's getting his receptions at a pretty consistent clip above this number. I don't like his yards as much because I think he's been very boom or bust, and he's been boom or bust in both categories. But I feel like the boom has been more common than the bust in the last handful of weeks because this is when you need the play. Who do you go to? And I think it's a low enough number. I like receptions instead of yards because I think the chance of them going from, we're 3rd and 7, we need a first down, as opposed to like he needs a big player too to hit the yards over. So that's what I'm going with. And this will be the 2 unit bet for me. So I'll do it that way. So I'm mixing and chasing my double unit bets.
There you go. And even out that minus 155 price.
Yeah.
That, definitely sort of recoil. Don't love seeing a minus 155 on a player prop, but it's like that's another one they should look at. Like, would you bet would you take minus or over 7.5 catches at plus 100 rather than this?
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, that would be a tough call.
Yeah, it's just something, all these fun things that we can play with here. We're around to me in the 3rd round. Before we continue on with this draft, however, let me give you a word from our friends over at BetMGM. Super Bowl, 1 game left to bet on in this NFL season. Make it now. Make it with BetMGM. Bet 10, win 150 plus 3 free months to The Athletic. Just go to betmgm.com. Use the code TheAthleticPod. Do it now. Take advantage of this offer from the King of Sportsbooks. Again, just one more football game, one more NFL game to bet on before the end of this 21-22 season. Bet 10, win 150 with BetMGM. Plus, get 3 free months at The Athletic. Go to betmgm.com and use the code TheAthleticPod. This is a new customer offer. Terms and conditions apply. All right, guys, so we've got just under 2 rounds left here, and I'm going to stick on these Bengals receivers. I'm going to stick with these guys because this is another set of guys who I want to find some sort of investment in. I do think this game goes under. I don't think it's a 13-10 style under. I think it's something that lives right around the number, and we know that someone on both sides. And there's going to be a receiver in both cores who has himself a very good game, maybe 2 in both. And so I look at T. Higgins and I look at Jamar Chase. And obviously Jamar Chase, that's where the bread is buttered in this Cincinnati passing game. But T. Higgins is a pretty damn good player in his own right. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, with the way that the Rams have been deploying Jalen Ramsey, wouldn't be surprised to see him be more of a center field type robber player when the Bengals are in between the 20s. But when they get in close, to see him do a little bit more shadowing of Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase has already made himself one of the most dangerous inside the 10, inside the 5 receivers in the NFL. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them really man up with Jalen Ramsey on Jamar Chase when the Bengals are close in scoring range. And so that leads me to a couple of T. Higgins touchdown props. He's a first-time touchdown scorer, plus 1,200, and anytime touchdown scorer at plus 155. I'm just going to go ahead, take that plus 155, put 1 unit on it. T. Higgins finds the end zone at some point in this game. A guy who, we were coming into the season thinking of as a top 20, 25 receiver. He's understandably been overshadowed by his rookie teammate, but T. Higgins still a very dangerous player in his own right. And if they do throw Ramsey on Chase in near the goal line, I think that's where T. Higgins could operate, find some holes in that Rams defense. I think T. Higgins finds the end zone at some point in this game. I'm certainly willing to do it at a plus 155 price. So give me that. T. Higgins, anytime touchdown, you guys. How are we feeling about these Bengals receivers? Anyone else want to jump in on just Bengals receivers, Higgins, Chase, Boyd, anything that you're looking at with this game?
Burrow's been pretty diverse with his touchdown distribution in the last bit of the season. So I actually like going with some plus odds and picking somebody. I took the Chase receptions, but in the red zone, it seems to be pretty distributed. So I actually like that, taking somebody with a good payout.
Yeah, no CJ Uzomah for the Bengals either. So T. Higgins maybe has an even larger role to play in the red zone for this team.
He said he was going to play today, didn't he? That was in our breaking news chat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
he said something like, I'm not going to miss that's what he's saying. I'm not going to miss the biggest game of my life.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's actually going to be able to do it, but
yeah. All right, so CJ Uzomah maybe not playing. Let me say CJ Uzomah maybe not playing in this one for the Bengals. Either way, I think T. Higgins has a large role to play for the Bengals, certainly when they get down into the red zone. Nando, round 3, you are up. We've got a couple of Rams plays for you. Do you stick Rams or do you finally go over to the Bengals for a pick?
Well, no, I think I should pair it with the analyst in me is like, I should definitely pair this with Sony Michel to score the last touchdown from before at 16-1. I mean, if you believe the Rams are going to be ahead, they're just going to run it with Sony Michel, who's kind of like, now their quote unquote backup, which I think, run the clock out. Sony Michel runs, there's a touchdown, 16-1, game's over. But I got Joe Mixon plus 100 rushing yards and Beckham Jr. plus 100 receiving yards at plus 1,400 that I love. And I got the Bengals are going to score exactly 22 points at 40-1. They've done it twice this season. I thought it was a random number, but I looked it up, and it just seems like they just land on 22 enough where
they've got a great kicker, right? I mean,
I don't know, man.
Great kickers lead to weird scores for sure because he might kick 4 field goals.
So I'm torn. So I think what I'm going to do is just do the smart way since we're providing a service, people. Sony Michel to score the last touchdown, 16-1 at 2-1. I'm sorry, I'm going to give my 2 units on the 16-1.
Man, you are just riding with Sony.
I could be totally wrong, but I don't know. If I'm not, it's going to turn out well for me.
Oh, it's going to turn out great for you.
I'm covering all my Sony Michel. They don't even have rushing props for Sony Michel. That's how afterthoughty he is.
I mean, this should be you should wrap up your draft with Sony Michel MVP.
No, that doesn't exist.
Call up our friend Jason Scott. Ask him to put it on the board for you.
Please add me as Sony Michel MVP so I can take your money. If
I'm sure they'll be terrified of the Sony Michel MVP bet. Oh boy, this is great. This is exactly what we're hoping for. DeWitt, wrap us up, man, or give us our first wrap up here. You've got 2 more picks there. Your last 2 picks of this Super Bowl 56 prop bet draft. What do you got for us?
Sony Michel is 80-1. So go for it, Nando.
Right.
I'll do sticking with the MVP bet. I'm going to do Aaron Donald 12-1 to win the MVP for 1 unit. I think the Rams, there's 2, if the Bengals win, I think Joe Burrow wins MVP, no doubt about it. So if you're looking at the money line, just take Burrow to win the MVP because I don't think there's anyone else who wins the MVP for the Bengals. But if the Rams dominate this game, this is one of the biggest spreads we've had in the Super Bowl in the last 10 years. I think the Panthers were the biggest favorite going back several years here. So it's been several years since we've had a big spread. I think Aaron Donald is recognized as the best defensive player in the NFL. I think he can have a big game. Mm-hmm. If he comes up with an interception or he forces a fumble that changes the game, I can see the writers leaning towards Aaron Donald and giving him some credit. I mean, I really do like Cooper Kupp at 6-1 too, just because
love that bet.
I just think that he's a really good option to win. But going back to it, the problem is the NFL writers, they have to put in their votes with 5 minutes left in the game. So if it's a close game, I think Stafford's going to win just because they're in a default towards the quarterbacks. But I do like those 2 kind of MVP bets, but I'll make Aaron Donald at 12-1 my MVP bet.
Really quick before you make your last pick, can I throw out it's not a conspiracy theory, but it's just the first phrase that comes to mind for me as to why I think Cooper Kupp at 6-1 is also a good bet on top of him just being awesome and the fact that I think the Rams are going to win this game. How many writers over the last month have been reconsidering not voting Cooper Kupp as the MVP of the league this year? We've been hearing it. I mean, people have been talking about it. It has been a talking point for the last month. He's had this ridiculous playoff run. I bet there's more than a few writers who are reconsidering their MVP vote or saying if the MVP vote also included the playoffs, I would have Cooper Kupp ahead of Aaron Rodgers or something with the way that the Packers played in their 1 playoff game. So it's almost like a combined regular season and playoff MVP if Kupp gives us another 10, 150, and 2 sort of performance. I feel like that's a creeping thought in writers' heads. Is that crazy? Or, I mean, I don't think I think I'm onto something with it.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to it because I noticed a lot of people they're definitely regretting that Aaron Rodgers MVP vote that people put in, especially after he kind of bombed in the first playoff game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's the crazy thing is I don't know. I mean, it makes sense that you just want to make it a regular season award, but I think sometimes the media is a little too simple in giving out credit to where it goes, and they just default to the quarterback too much. And I think that as the NFL goes forward, analytics comes more in the conversation, and how do you value certain players? There's a great argument for Cooper Kupp. There's a great argument for other players and Aaron Donald types. Maybe not this year, but in previous years where he dominated more. Is those players deserve to be in the conversation because they change games on a frequent basis.
Yeah. Yeah, totally with you. All right, DeWitt, wrap us up. 4th round, kick us off here.
All right. I have several I'm surprised at how many picks I still have left on my. I put 10 down, and I still have a lot of them left. The only one that got stolen was Beller's over 5.5 total game sacks.
Oh, beautiful! Yes,
wow.
I love
I'm
it.
gonna go Rams longest punt over 51.5 yards. I think Johnny Hecker has a heck of a leg.
No
They're
pun
at some
intended,
point
right?
the Bengals will force a 3 and out. They'll get it, and I think I just love that. It's an indoor game. He'll bomb one. At some point, they'll get a 3 and out. The Bengals will stop him, and he'll have to just unload his leg. He's a great. But I haven't found this prop yet, but I was looking for it earlier today. I would love to place a prop bet on as a bonus on Johnny Hecker to throw a pass in this game, but it had to be at like 10 to 15 to 1 odds, because if the Rams get desperate, that is totally something they would go for. And he has a great arm. So, I think it'd be a good fun prop bet to have a really long shot odds on.
Yeah, we've seen it more than once. We've seen it on many occasions. Not only the Rams being very comfortable going to that trick bag, but Hecker being adept at performing in that role when they ask it of him too. So I love that. What was it? 51.5 was the punt yardage that you're looking at? Beautiful. And that's is that 2 units or 1 unit for you to wrap things up?
I'll do 2 units on that one.
All right, there we go. DeWitt all done. Nando, Sony Michel, 80 to 1 to win the MVP. So we can move right on to me.
I got a better MVP. I got Von Miller at 50 to 1. But
wow.
So here's the thing. I'm putting myself at a Super Bowl, watching the Super Bowl, and I want to drink. I want to relax a little bit. And like in-laws gonna be here, watch kids. But you probably there's no free time anymore. So I just kind of want to be at the end of the game and just kind of buzzed and feeling good about something random happening.
Yeah. Sure.
Any team to successfully recover an onside kick is plus 2,500. I know. I just finished reading Holzhauer, and he's like, always go against these novelty bets because they're never going to happen. But it's just goofy fun. And I think if all this other stuff implies the game's not going to be close. If the game's kind of close, if Cincinnati scores late or even LA scores late and they come into within 8, onside kick's going to happen. These games, these guys have come back at the end of the games a lot. Like if you watch the last 4 playoff games, basically, everyone's come back from these huge halftime deficits.
Yep.
I don't appreciate that this isn't just any team to successfully attempt. This is, recover it too. So, 2,500.
I like it.
Although you could read it like successfully recovering an onside. 2,500. I like it.
No.
Go with it.
I mean it's not that. It's not what you were hinting at.
Yeah, I was thinking I was doing the words.
You win no matter what, as long as the kick doesn't go out of bounds.
Yeah, exactly. Someone recovered it.
Let me throw it back to that Saints-Colts Super Bowl again. I've been waiting for someone since then to do a surprise onside. We haven't seen it since the Saints pulled that off at the start of the second half of that game. Surprise onside is the most underutilized play in football.
I just love how Nando reads an actual professional bettor say, "Don't do these; they never happen." And he's like, "Screw it, I'm doing it anyway."
I'm not trying to make a career out of this. I'm just trying to have a drunk Sunday
See, that's
night.
that's where that comes in. If you are a professional gambler who has many resources to bet against all the novelties, that makes sense. But if you're just us having some fun with it, indulge in the novelty a little bit.
We're surfacing the fun ones for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're all looking for here. No Gatorade color just yet, and I don't know if we're gonna get one. We're not gonna get one from me. I've got I like DeWitt. There are a lot of plays I still like here. I mean, like I said, Cooper Kupp, all the overs, the receptions, the receiving yards. Cooper Kupp has a most receiving yards prop, similar to what which one of you was that, Danny or DeWitt, who threw that out there? It was DeWitt on Joe Mixon. Same exact thing, just receiving yards, only minus 120. Love that for Cooper Kupp. I really like Odell Beckham's props. Those are things that I'll be looking at. I definitely will have a bet on Cooper Kupp to win the MVP, but we've talked about all those. So I'm going to put out just one more for the people that we haven't yet talked about. And let's continue with this theme that we've got going in the 4th round. We've got a punter over his yards. We've got an onside kick recovery prop. How about longest field goal in this game? It's set at 47.5, and I think it goes over that number. We all know what Evan McPherson has done in the playoffs and really all season long. On the other side, you've got a very good kicker. You've got pristine kicking conditions in Los Angeles, indoors, except for, the sun maybe, right? It's going to be like a 3:30 kickoff time in Los Angeles. So that could have maybe a little bit of an impact, but I don't really think so. This is a great place to kick, a great stadium to kick in. One excellent kicker, one very good kicker. I think things end up where you're going to see some teams stall out as well, and they're going to have attempts at longer than 47.5. And so I'll take the fact that one of them converts it. It comes in at -115. I've got 2 units on this one. Longest field goal in the game, over 47.5 yards. There we go. Danny, wrap us up here. One more pick, and then we say goodbye to our prop bet draft. What do you got for us?
So I'm going to take us for a little bit of a ride. Okay, yes, so we're doing the prep. We're doing the prep for this, and I had some. We all had some picks we had listed. Like, these are the ones I like, and I felt like I had like 7 or 8. And I'm like, we'll be fine. And then I realized, like, there's 4 guys, there's 4 rounds. I need to have like 16 as my procrastinator brain is freaking out, right? Uh-huh. So I do some extra research last night and, found a couple more, whatever. But the thing is, it was in my brain. So I go to bed and I have a dream about a Joe Burrow rushing touchdown. This is not a joke. This actually happened. I'm not religious. I'm not superstitious, but like I saw it. I literally saw it in my dream. So Joe Burrow, anytime touchdown, plus 550. I think the odds are actually atrocious. He's only had 2 rushing touchdowns. He did run a little bit against the Chiefs. So maybe again, the pass rush will have to roll out and scramble. This is all about the dream. Don't follow me on this one, but I have to pick it.
Oh my God. There's nothing quite like the end of an episode of Best on the Board being like, don't make this bet with me. It's a horrible bet. It's horrible odds, but I had a dream last night, so I have to do it.
Danny's been watching Yellow Jackets.
I actually have. Those dreams would be real bad. Let's not do that.
That is perfect. That is beautiful. So, does anyone have any want to throw out before we wrap things up here? Anything we didn't touch on that anyone wants to discuss, or do we just say goodbye and good luck?
I think blue on the Gatorade. I saw that DraftKings was offering it in a couple of states. They got some special exemptions. Usually those are off the board in these regulated sports bets, but I think blue is probably a good choice. It usually goes between orange and blue, alternating for the most part. So,
do you know that for sure?
Do I know what for sure?
That it
it's
alternates
random.
between orange and blue?
It's random.
No. It was alternating. It was alternating between blue and orange for the most part, except for red last year.
For the most part, except for last year.
No, there is a trend. If you go look at the history of the Gatorades, there is a trend between blue and orange.
That's excellent. Let's see. I don't know. I don't think there's anything else. I'm you know what I'm excited for, and then we were actually talking about this before we got going. Nando, we were talking before you jumped on with us. I can't wait for the cross sport props to come up because I love those.
We got people lined up too. We got people across all sports lined up to write about these cross sport props for us too. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh my God, we're obviously gonna have to wait for later in the week. Those don't come out later because that's just how their books aren't gonna post those before they would be posting those sport lines anyway. So gotta wait till later in the week to see those. But those are super fun. I love indulging in a couple of those every year on the Super Bowl. And hey, that's what the Super Bowl is all about, indulging just a little bit. So be on the lookout for those columns when they come out later in the week. We got to go here. We got to say goodbye on this episode of Best on the Board. We hope you had fun following along with us as we conducted our Super Bowl 56 prop bet draft. For Danny, for Nando, for DeWitt, I am Michael Beller. We say thank you for listening. To those of you on YouTube, thank you for watching us. Good luck. Happy betting. We'll talk to you soon.